Hi, I'm going to show today how to use Chart.js with Svelte, how to integrate it using actions, and it's how simple it can be. I'm going to get started straight away. I'm going to create a default Svelte template called charting. I'm going to cd into that. I'm going to run npm install. Notice how fast that is. It's so good. And we're just going to make sure everything is working. npm run dev. Go over it. Yep, everything is working fine. Let's go back in here. Open this up in Visual Studio Code. Just drag it over here. And here we go. Here's our default starting template that Svelte gives us. Terminal in here. So we're going to use Chart.js. I'm just going to delete all this stuff first for now. So we don't need any of it. We just want to draw a chart. I'll remove this too. Just cleaning up. Now I'm going to create a folder called actions, and a file in here called chartrenderer.js, which will export our action. So first thing we need to do is npm install chart.js for our charting. That's installed. Let's import it so we can use it. Import chart from chart.js. Export our action. So let's export our action. We'll call it chart renderer. It's going to take in the node which we attach the action to. That'll make sense in a second if it doesn't now. And we're just going to test it by doing console.log action for now, just to make sure the action is working. So let's create an element here. Chart.js will expect the canvas. So we can do use action or use. Let's import our action first. Import from chart renderer. Import chart renderer. And let's use it. So if we relaunch our application, npm run dev, we should get a console log of action. Just to make sure it's working. We shouldn't see anything. Just a console log. Yep, there we go. Okay, let's get back into it. So we want to create a new chart. I just paused the video and created a new file called chart data, which has two chart configurations for Chart.js, one for a bar chart and one for a donut chart, just to speed it up and for example's sake. So now we're going to call new chart so we can render our chart. And this expects our configuration, which we have one in here. For a bar chart, we're going to use this bar data. So let's import that. From chart data. It's called bar data. Let's use that one. Bar data. So now our chart is actually should be drawn. If we go back to our local host, there we go, we see it. We have our chart drawn already. Simply just doing this. But we want it so that we're passing in an option so that we could create, I don't know, a donut chart or a bar chart using this method. So what we can do is our action can take in options. Also, let's do options. And now we can just pass that in. So we could we can now pass our options in here, like so. Let's import our two chart configurations now. Let's import bar data. And I think we have donut data as well. Bar data is going to go in here. And let's make a donut chart underneath using the same method now. Donut data. So the options is this guy. So we're calling make a new chart with our options. This is a donut chart. This is a bar chart. So we should see both of them, which we do. Lovely stuff. Let's go back into our app. And now I want to show what happens if we change the data and we wanted to, for example, get this to re-render every time that these change. How would we do that? So we can return an update and a destroy from an action. So we can return update. Destroy. The update will be called every time this options changes, and it will contain the new updated options as an argument. So let's call this updated options. And what we want to do is we want to update the chart's data with the new data so that it will redraw. So to do that, we need to have a reference to the chart. So let's make a reference to the chart. Like so. Then we can call chart.data. And this will be the new updated configuration. So for example, if this changes, it will trigger this update function and it'll have the new data inside here. So we can do updated options.data and call chart.update to redraw the chart. So let's go in here and simulate something like, I don't know, fetching from an API every 100 milliseconds and redrawing our charts. So let's do something like that. Let's do const fetch chart data. Should be a function. And we'll say set interval. I'm going to call this function every 1000 milliseconds. So this function will be called every 1000 milliseconds. And what we want to do is we basically want to say, we want to set the bar data. We want to set this chart's data to something different every time. So I'm just going to change this for now, because this is what's affecting how the chart is drawn. So it's an array of numbers. So I want to just create some random numbers. So let's do that. Let's do array.from. We can say, use the length of this guy. So basically I'm saying for each index in this, basically return a new array with random numbers at each index between 0 and 40 and run that every 1000 milliseconds. So let's create a button down here, and let's do on click. Let's call this fetch data, or fetch chart data, and let's say fetch data in here. Let's go to back, let's click this, and you should see your chart redraw every 1000 milliseconds, which we do. Cool. Let's do it for the other guy as well. So this function is being called in here every time these options that are passed in are changing. So they're changing every 100 milliseconds, and we're triggering an update on the charts every time this changes. I want to show you the destroy method also, because you should use that to clean up anything. For example, if that chart was removed from the DOM, you should delete this chart. So we can do chart.destroy, and this destroy function will be called every time the element is removed from the DOM. So let's wrap a if statement, if show chart, create a boolean up here, show chart equals true. Let's create a function called const toggle chart, which will be a function that is basically just going to do show chart equals, which is basically just going to toggle the chart's visibility or not. Create another function here and just go toggle chart. Oh, let's rename this toggle chart. So now we should see, I better cancel log just so you can see it. So every time that's removed from the DOM, we're destroying the chart. So we should see this being called every time that this chart is removed from the DOM. So if you look in here, destroyed is called, which cleans up our chart. It's no longer there. Put it back. It's destroyed again. Awesome. We do this, and our chart is updating. Pretty cool, right? That's everything. Really simple with Svelte. Hope you enjoyed.